These eyes are hidden away between all of the hair. So this is a Bernedoodle, but I'm specifically wanting to talk about drawing the black and white colors that are in this because there's not a lot more colors besides that. But believe it or not, there actually is. It's just at the first glance, this is a black and white dog. So I do want to kind of show you like what kind of colors I actually use in this. Now to start out with, yes, I use a gray blue color pencil, and it helps to create a little bit more of a cool tone, especially in the white areas. But I also use it for some of the darker areas, and really at this point I'm just trying to get a basic structure of where the fur is going, like where the direction of it is, and then how long it is, and then where is it darker and where is it lighter. So I use a variety of cool tones and warm tones to work in some of those darker and lighter areas. You could see that I mix up the colors as I go along. It is faster paced, so yeah, you can kind of make your best judgment as to what color I'm using at the time, but I definitely use a lot of silver grays, and then a little bit of some warm grays mixed in there, and that really helps to create a good sense of depth mixing between the warm tones and the cool tones. I don't really like using black just yet, but I am using it here just to really start to darken some of the features before I apply that beautiful Gamsol mineral spirit oil. But this part is really just a matter of trying to make sure that I'm getting the dark areas as saturated as possible, but also incorporating other colors so it doesn't look like it's just a flat black color. And if you're wondering, yes, I am using a mix of dark browns in those darker areas. You can kind of tell, but they definitely come out a little bit more when I use that mineral spirit oil. So that's what I'm using here on a paintbrush. And if you're just really picky about only wanting to use color pencil, that's fine. You can use like a light color pencil to burnish, and that helps to blend everything together. Or you could use that and then it'll actually help ease up your hands. Get hand cramps a lot of the time, so I try to use that as a to make up for that, essentially. So it really does help in the long run. The more you use it, the more you'll understand what I mean about that. But you can see that I'm leaving room for the highlighted areas, such as these eyebrows right here. It's very light, but there is a mix of different grays in there. So it's really rough looking right now, and that's okay. It's gonna look pretty rough, especially with this kind of hair, because it's very scraggly, to give a good description of it, the scraggly hair. But it's definitely a black and white dog, but it's not just black and white color pencils. I'm also using a very pale pink to incorporate some warmer tones in the highlighted areas as well. I think that really helps to bring this dog more alive than if it were to just be cool tones in the highlighted area. I noticed over time as I practiced more with these kind of dogs, or cats too, but if I don't incorporate warm tones in there, that dog just does not look very much alive, or it's using some sort of cold filter on it. So I try to incorporate some warm tones in there, like browns, pinks, sometimes orange in there. But mostly just for this one, I'm using some browns in the darker areas or the mid-tones, and then a light faded pink for the highlights. As you can see here, I'm using a little bit of some white to enhance some of the white features a little bit more after I've applied some of the darker features. And if you're worried about making the darks be really dark and nice and saturated, it's okay. Just do your best to apply a lot of layers without damaging the paper. I heavily suggest using some sort of watercolor paper. That way it can actually hold all those layers while also holding the saturation of those colors. So moving on to the nose and the mouth area, there's definitely a lot more white going on than the rest of the face. So we're using a mix between some cool tones and warm tones, of course. There's a little bit of a golden tone, a little golden look to it. And what I use is a light raw umber to create that golden effect. And then the hairs, they definitely curve over the top of the bottom part of the mouth. So I would first suggest working on the bottom hairs first, and then over the top doing that fountain effect with the hairs, and that'll actually create a really good sense of depth. I don't always work on the mouth before the nose, but for this one, I think I really just wanted to get a good sense of direction and detail around the mouth area and around the nose a little bit more before the nose, because it already ties in with the eyes, and I think it just kind of helped me get a better understanding proportionately where everything should be placed before going into the nose. If you're interested in learning to draw your own pet portraits, I do have a full 8-week program that you can learn to draw. It's at your own pace, so you don't have to do the whole 8-week program all at once, or you could, it's pretty much at any time you want to do it, you can do it. But it's very in-depth. You learn how to draw different types of fur, different colored fur, different animal features, and then at the end, you learn to draw a full pet portrait, and then you practice drawing your own pet. So I highly suggest checking that out. That is linked below in the description. And if you want to follow along and learn to draw with different tips and tricks, I send out newsletters every week. So if you want to sign up for that, that will be in the description below as well. So the nose, no two nostrils are the exact same. So that's okay if they look different, as long as they look proportionate as best as possible to the reference image. And then you can start working up with the shading. Think about the shading more so than the detail itself. You can use the mineral spirit oil, or you can just leave it kind of scraggly, because there are some noses that have that very scratchy looking pattern to it. So it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. I tend to do it, especially for bigger noses, just because I like to etch in my own detail later on. I guess it's more just a sense of control at that point, why I like to do that. Don't forget to pay attention to where the highlights are located. That's very, very important, no matter what feature you're working on. And the mouth, I've never really been fond of drawing mouths or tongues, but here we go. We'll just have fun with it. And I usually wait to use the mineral spirit oil until closer towards the end, because I really want it to have a very smooth effect on the tongue instead of a sketch-like look. So once I have that done, then I start to add in some more color in there. And then sometimes I'll even use mineral spirit oil again to blend it a little bit better. But it really just depends on what's happening and how it looks overall. This one definitely had more of a faded color, so I used it twice, but you don't always have to. You can use it closer towards the end of drawing the tongue itself. It's really just kind of play around with it and see what works best for you. Not everybody has the same preferences, but I do try to explain, like, okay, so this is the techniques that I use. It might be beneficial for you, but definitely play around with it, especially when it comes to colors. A lot of people like to choose their own colors and have that autonomy. So I always try to suggest, hey, pick out like 5 colors and then go from there. But make sure that you are using a big variety of these similar types of colors, like different types of browns, different types of grays, different types of like you could even use some earthy tone greens, like the raw umbers. Just try a different variety and see where that takes you. Sometimes I'll even incorporate some purples into my portraits, and it actually really does help to make that portrait look more realistic. And honestly, I've never had a single complaint, because it's not really that I'm drawing a rainbow dog, but I do think that incorporating almost every single color of the rainbow does help to tie in a more realistic look to the pet portrait. Drawing the body actually is a lot faster than drawing the face, mostly because there's not as many key features like the nose, the ears, the mouth, and the eyes. So it's going to take you a lot less time, but still be very careful about not rushing it and making sure that you're adding the detail, because I end up wanting to rush it by the end. I'm like, oh, I'm really tired of this. I just really want to get this done. And this part is just not all too much my favorite. But you could see here that, like, after using a lot of the Gamsol Mineral Spirit Oil and then applying a lot of black along with some lighter colors in there, and yes, I added some brown in there too. Now I'm using some of the highlights, like the light blue and a little bit of a light pink as well in there. It really does help to create a nice, beautiful sense of depth while also creating or leaving that saturated look with the black, because this dog is definitely very black in the body feature specifically. And let me know in the comments below if this is really helpful, and if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them for you. I've been doing this for about 6 going on 7 years, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Not really in the beginning. I definitely was very critical and very impatient with myself, but over time, as I learned the right techniques with color pencils, I started to really enjoy the process, and now I no longer question what kind of technique works with what, and then the color pencils as well. So I'm definitely not as scared of trying out different methods, and also I enjoy the process itself. So I've learned to really slow down and be more patient because of the drawing process itself. My primary thing is I do pet portraits, but now I'm switching it over to doing more of my own work, of my own wildlife, and then selling art prints. But I'm also focusing on teaching you how to draw pet portraits and wildlife, because I really think that anybody could do this if they have enough patience and practice. And especially if they already have an artistic drive, then I highly suggest checking this out, because it's a really nice mess-free medium to use, and you could take it anywhere. And the more you practice and the more you build up those layers, the more you would be more satisfied with the results and proud of yourself too, because I didn't think I could ever do this, honestly. But as I started to build up my confidence and also practice more, that's more it's pretty much when I really started to love this medium. I didn't love it right away, but I just kept pushing myself to do it because I really liked the results of it. And then I learned to like the process. So if you're not really enjoying the process just yet, that's okay. That's pretty normal. But just keep going with it and see if you really start to enjoy it over time, then you know it's for you. But this doggy is pretty much done here. So you can see it's definitely black and white when you stand out from it, but it also has a variety of different colors. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.